Welcome back, listeners. This is Morbid Morticia. You're listening to The Witching Hour, and I'm here with.
The coolest gentleman.
And today we are going to do our campfire stories.
Yay.
It's been a long time since we done one.
Last year, I think.
Yeah, in October?
Shit, was it? Probably.
I think so. Yeah, well, it's been a while since we done stories, so we were like, hey, why the heck not? So here we are. Um, if you want to go ahead and tell your first story.
Okay.
Or not. I
What
mean,
was that?
nothing.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and tell your story. My friend's messaging me. I'm sorry. Um,
How
go
unprofessional.
on ahead.
Alright.
Oh, your mama.
This. What? About to beat
What?
your ass. This first
You
story.
can't.
I can. This first
He
story.
wish he could.
I
He
literally
wish.
could. She's like the size of a fucking tic tac. Alright. This first story.
Oh my god. I'm all a minion. Built like one too.
Oh my god.
Wow, the fact that you were laughing.
Uh, she said, temperature.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, for realsies.
All right. This first story is called Concrete, and it was written by Scarabium. A payroll issue meant I was going to be late on my rent. When I returned home, my apartment had shrunk by 2 foot on each side. It was now only 10 foot square. I rented an edge spot that came with a window. Staring out, I saw throngs of people below marching along the overcrowded streets, trying to keep them warm. There were billions of homeless in the frozen world, all unable to afford a safe spot inside a concrete tower block. The poor sods shuffled along endlessly until they eventually collapsed and were crushed underfoot. Regardless, I was too tired to talk with the landlord and laid on my cold slab of a bed. 16 hours of producing spring veins for the biological concrete partitions had worn me down, and like Sisyphus, was condemned to repeat it the next day. Shortly after dozing off, I was awoken by the sound of the bed moving, its metal feet scraping across the floor. The room was shrinking. My furniture and possessions were being crushed by the growing walls. In the chaos, my leg twisted awkwardly, and I felt an immediate tearing pain. I screamed for help, knowing nobody would. Then I heard laughter through the intercom as my room settled into its new size. 5 feet square. My window was also gone.
You better have my money tomorrow, or I'll grind your bones to make my bread.
It was my landlord, Gresham. Bastard. He wasn't kidding. It was legal to triturate someone if they ran into arrears. After all, it created a vacancy with an increased rental price. As I crawled out of my room and into the skinny corridor, I saw my neighbor's daughter, Sally, asleep on the floor. There wasn't enough space in her own family's room. She was so sweet, but I despaired at the kind of life her future children would have to endure. I stepped over her quietly and hobbled to work, shuffling along the tight corridor. Not everyone was as thoughtful. Crossing the congested overhead bridge to my work at Cronkitorium, number 445686, I glimpsed nearby towers reconfiguring themselves as the landlords literally squeezed their tenants for what little they had. My supervisor grabbed me when I arrived. Your payroll was fucked because you won the bloody sweepstake. I told him to stop joking, but when he told me to check my rent account, I cried. Once home, I paid Gresham, and my room reverted to its original design. Gresham grinned knowingly when I told him I'd won the sweepstake. He knew what I'd asked for. I wanted the whole floor to myself. The living concrete walls moved slowly outwards, compressing the rooms behind them and pulverizing their occupants. I heard Sally and her parents next door, desperately wailing and crying, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted more room. I wanted space. It was everyone's dream, and I had enough money to keep it this way for the whole day.
My story, my friend told me this story. Shout out to my homegirl Itzel. I love you. This happened to her when she was a little kid. Um, so she used to go to her dad's house, and her and her brother they slept in the same room. And she said, like, in the middle of the night, um she would hear, not hear, but she would see this guy in the room, and he would like ring a bell by her ear and wanting to play with her. But she said that she would just like ignore him, and she would tell her dad that she was like, hey, like, there's a man in the room in the middle of the night. He's always ringing the bell by my ear and he wants to play. And so her cousin, like, they went over to spend the night at her dad's house, and nobody wanted to sleep by the closet because the man was there. So she slept by the closet, and she said that she saw like this black shadow, and it was the man just sitting there. And she said that she turned around and fell asleep. And the end.
Oh my god. And she's
So
dead.
scary. No, she's very much alive.
RP to a real one.
Yeah. Oh, and she said that her little brother, it happened to him too when he was 4 years old. So
Really?
that she thought it was really, really weird and creepy because like it happened to her when she was 4, and they're like, she said they're 6 years apart. So when she was 10 and he was 4, it was happening the same thing to him, like the whole like bell ringing. So yeah, I was like, damn, it's fucking scary. So
Damn. Yeah.
yeah,
She
really
lives
scary.
to tell the tale.
She has so many stories, but I really like. Ay, me ahogo. She really liked this one, or I really like this one.
We're gonna have to get him on here to tell some of those stories.
Yeah, well, the thing is, she lives in Nevada, so
Oh yeah, we don't have the funds for that.
true.
Alright. So this is my number 2 story, which belongs to one of our viewers, one of my friends. This is Brees Story from when she was a kid. So this happened to me in elementary school. Normally, I always went to my dad's house every 2 weekends to visit him. Separate parent things. Picture this old 2-story house on the corner of the street that looks super creepy. Growing up, I was told of ghost stories, specifically about the second floor, from my family members that lived in the house. But I never really believed them because I was so young and it sounded so stupid to me. But then, on one Saturday, I was hanging out in my grandpa's room because that was a popular place for young me and my cousins. We were sitting around just messing around with people, playing with building blocks, playing Pokemon Sapphire, and then we had the funny idea to look into his closet and cue the spooky eerie music because there was a small door in his closet. We opened it, and there was basically a whole entire walkway around the insides of the walls throughout the entire first story. After we saw this stuff, my grandparents came in and basically shooed us out and scolded us not to go in there again. Of course, younger me just thought nothing of it. It could have been for safety reasons, who knows. That same night, I was sitting in my room, which is upstairs, and there are these loud stairs that lead up to it. I was looking out my window because I liked watching stars at night and seeing the people who walked by on the empty streets. Around this time, it was like 2 in the morning. I was going to sleep until I heard these footsteps coming up the loud stairs. Thought it was my dad, as he has a room next to mine, but I looked out into the staircase and it was empty. It immediately freaked me out, so I went and sat back on my bed because of what else was I gonna do? My room was actually the one that was the most haunted in the place. There were always bad stories from the old computer room that I had that occupied as my own space. More specifically, the closet door that I was told never to open. That night, it opened up itself behind me. I literally sprinted out of my room and slept on the couch for that night, because I was not about to be in one of those ghost movies. So long story short, I never went into that closet again, and I moved my bed away from that closet door. Ta-da! And that was her story.
Ooh.
That was pretty creepy.
Yeah, it was. What's up with closets?
Right?
Am I right?
Moving on. What is your number 2?
So this happened to my tia. Rest in peace. This happened in Guanajuato, Mexico. So shout out to my people from Guanajuato. So yeah, this happened when she was a teenager. Um, she she was like walking around like my dad and his sister and mi abuela, they live in like, you know, those ranchos, and like there's this guy who would like sell cheese and like other shit too, but mostly like cheese. And so this guy had a crush on my tia, and my tia didn't like him. And what she didn't know is that his mom, she was a bruja. And so like he pretty much went up to his mom and he was like, "Hey, like, do you have something that you can make her fall in love with me?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, like I know what to do and whatever." And so she did something with this cheese, and so he uh gave it to my tia, and he was like, "Hey, like I got you this cheese, like you eat it, don't let nobody else eat it." And she was like, "Okay." So she ate the cheese and she went back home, and then homegirl just got really sick, really really sick. She said that she said she would see like these flies, and these flies had faces in them, and they were like laughing at her, and she was like, "What the fuck?" And she her voice started like changing like deeper, and she said she started like seeing like demons or Satan or something like that in the corner of the room. And like she lost so much weight because she couldn't eat. Every time she would eat something, she would throw it up. um it was just really bad. She got like, her eyes got really dark. um she started like naming like all these um like the Satan's names and Lucifer, and like, you know, I think there's 7 names of them. I'm not sure, but she started naming all those names, and she started like speaking like different languages. And so like they had to call El Padre, and they did like an exorcism on her because supposedly she was possessed by the devil. And yeah, that was pretty much the story. She said after that, like after they did like the praying y todo, like ya se le fue, se le quitó. Um, but yeah, that was like really scary. I remember her telling me when I went to Mexico, and it scared the fucking shit out of me. She said she would see like all this shit, like she would see like these faces that she didn't even recognize, and they were laughing at her. So the guy's mom, she like she was trying to hurt my tia because she didn't like him. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of my tia.
Damn. What the hell? That's a whole movie right there.
No, hell yeah. I remember her telling me and I was fucking scared. I couldn't sleep when she told me. Especially because, like, allá in Mexico, I don't fuck with brujeria over there in Mexico. Like, that shit that I will not fuck around with. But yeah, the guy was like, no, I just wanted her to fall in love with me. Like, I wasn't trying to hurt her or anything, but... Alright, so what's your third one?
Okay. So for my third story, this is by a user called XX_chronic XX.
Me.
It's you.
It is.
No, but the story is called Maggot Mandy. Mandy was a bright student, top of her class. Other kids bullied her and made her life miserable. But she always had me to talk to. I saw what nobody else saw, a kind and caring person. She was different, a fact that made her a target for the whole school. To me, she was just Mandy, but to everyone else, she was Maggot Mandy, due to the strange pets that squirmed around inside the infected wounds covering her arms and legs. Being an outcast myself, I know how it feels to be so isolated from everyone else. So I decided to talk to her one day, and that was the day I met my best friend. Once I eventually gained her trust, she introduced me to her little pets. Douglas was the shy one. He would sometimes pop out from the pus-filled wound under her forearm, but he didn't much like strangers. Greg was the outgoing one. He would tunnel out from her flesh and crawl into her hand. He was my favorite. Such a friendly little guy. And then there was Sherm the worm, who had taken up residence in her leg. Greg didn't like Sherm that much. Mandy reckoned it was jealousy. There were many other little critters living both in and on her body. They were her family. Mandy's mother was a prostitute, and her father was killed by a rival drug dealer, so her home life wasn't good. But as she always said, her pets were her reason for living. But as we got older, I grew more concerned about her. Her once pretty face was covered in infected wounds, and even more maggots were living there rent-free. She had become blind in one of her eyes, due to her pets eating it away, and she had grown skinny from the tapeworms she had purposely ate. She didn't mind though. To her, she was merely nourishing her little ones. Teachers also became concerned, so they called social services, who promptly removed Mandy from her toxic home. She was never the same after that. Doctors cleaned her entire body and rid her of the maggots and worms living inside her flesh. Mandy became depressed after losing her babies. She grew quiet and ignored all my attempts at talking to her. Until one day, she didn't turn up for school. I went over to her foster family's house, and they told me she had run away, and the police were looking for her. 5 days later, her body was found in a field, absolutely crawling with maggots. She had sliced her body to pieces and covered herself in honey. Mandy died as she lived, nourishing her babies. And there you go.
Damn, that's scary.
It's more gross than anything.
Still scary though.
Now, for the final story.
Oh yeah, I forgot I had one more left. Oh shit, that's cool. Okay, so my last story, Mr. Gentleman already knows it. I think I've told it like so many times. Hasta ya se la sabe. Okay, so this story happened to me. I think I was about 3, 4 years old. Probably 3. We left to Mexico. We went back to Guanajuato. My grandma had passed away. Um, so we went to her funeral, and when we went, I started getting really sick. I wasn't feeling well, and we were actually going back to Dallas. um, but we were still in Mexico. And so we had to stop at my mom's pueblo, which is Coahuila. So shout out to my Coahuilians, if that's even a word. Um, so yeah, they had to take me to the hospital because I wasn't feeling good like at all. Um, so yeah, I kept throwing up. I had a really bad fever. And I remember we were in the room and I was laying down. The only light we had on was the light in the bathroom, and the light in the room was off. And so I think I was like asleep or something, and the bed, like my bed was against the wall, and my parents were in the room, like they were sitting next to me. And I just remember opening my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, I saw the Grim Reaper. My first language was Spanish, so I was like, "La muerte, la muerte," and my parents were like, "What the fuck?" Like they just saw me like freaking out. They were like, "What are you talking about?" They couldn't see it, but I could. And so like my dad was like holding me, and he was like freaking out because he thought it was my grandma taking me with her. And my mom went to go get the doctor, the nurses, and yeah, he was just like standing right in front of me. Um, until I saw the doctor. He came in and he gave me a shot, and I fell asleep. I knocked out, and when I woke up again, I didn't see him anymore. But I honestly feel like it's because I had a fever, and when you have a fever, you start like seeing shit. So that's probably what it was. But that shit was still scary. I mean, I've always been traumatized by it. So
Damn.
yeah, that was my story. But yeah,
I liked it. I do remember that one.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
haunted.
I tell everybody that story. I was like, I cheated on fucking death, so kiss my ass. Oh, yo, I'm all pissed. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
No, but yeah, I still remember like it happened like yesterday. It was scary.
That is
Like,
crazy.
just being a little kid and seeing that. So
Watch it just be you remembering like a TV show.
probably, I mean, um, I I used to watch horror films since I was little because my brothers would watch it too, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a Grim Reaper before.
Okay.
He was wearing like the hood y todo. So I was like, oh my god, this is it. I'm going to fucking die. And then the fucking doctor gave me a shot and I knocked out. But yeah, after that, I think I felt better.
Okay.
That's all that had to happen. I just had to see the Green Reaper, and then I felt better.
And now you're immortal.
Yeah, so can't kill me. I'm a bad bitch. Kidding.
There you guys have it.
There you go.
Our 3 short scary stories. But what was I gonna say? For next video, we should, let's see. It's been a while since we've done a Have You Seen This Yet? Probably gonna do that next.
Yeah.
Have you seen this yet? And obviously more movie reviews as they come out. Yeah, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, if you guys have any stories, like, tell us, because we would love to tell your stories.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, well, don't talk to me. I'm kidding. No, but yeah, anything, any stories or any movies that you want us to watch or any videos on YouTube, um, yeah, just send us like links, message me. I'm the one who's behind the accounts, so I'll be more than happy to check them out.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.